Welcome back to Pulled Focus, the show where we get to speak to filmmakers from around the world. And this is part of the 2022 Deep Fried Film Festival. So we are very pleased to welcome one of this year's submissions, and this is Simon Bryant with the film The Scent. So Simon, can you tell us a bit about yourself and the film that you've submitted this year?
Hi, yeah, thank you for having me. So I'm the director, writer, and producer on The Scent. And essentially it follows a father and his daughter as they try and navigate a post-apocalyptic world. They recently lost their mother to this entity that is chasing them, and it's basically just following them through this world and how they're navigating being together and the complications around being a single father. Yeah, and it was originally a treatment, a proof of concept for a much wider story that we're planning on producing further material on. So yeah.
Fab, we're going to have a wee look at the film just now. So, Simon, you wore a lot of hats when working on this film. How did you manage kind of working between, like, focusing on the directing, on the writing, and combining everything together?
Yeah, with difficulty. I think I knew going in like that I wanted to have like quite a lot of overall creative control over the project. Um, Being still under relatively strict COVID protocols. I mean, the lockdowns have just ended, but in terms of film and TV, it's still very strict. So I knew that I couldn't really get a big crew in. So it was about kind of like keeping almost everyone was kind of taking on a multiple role, and I was happy doing that myself as well. And if it meant me kind of taking overall creative control on it, that was perfectly fine. So it was very difficult, kind of just navigating the difficulties of the producing aspect and also the directing aspect on the days of the shoot. Writing it wasn't too much of an issue, really. I kind of prefer having that dual role of directing and writing. I know the vision very early on, so it can kind of blend into one when it comes to pre-production and then production. The most challenging aspect was the actual shoot with
Yes, I was going to
juggling
ask you
juggling
next.
multiple programs.
You didn't really make things easy for yourself filming outdoors in Scotland.
Yeah,
What sort of difficulties did that bring for you from the shooting side of things?
yeah. It's well, you're at the mercy of the elements, especially in Scotland. So it was very much just kind of trying to. We had 2 days of shoot on a Saturday and a Sunday, and then we had a Monday as a backup if we needed to get any further pickup shots. Fortunately, we managed to do it in the 2 days, but there was a lot of stopping and starting depending on on the change of weather and the lighting conditions changing. It was very much a day where 1 minute it was cloudy, the next minute it was sunny, and then we were right over a flight path as well. So it was the sound operator wasn't too impressed with the constant planes going over. So very challenging, yeah. But not too bad overall in terms of temperature wise. You know, we shot it in May, so we were kind of just getting a little bit warmer. So, but it was funny because the actors themselves were having to dress as though it was the middle of winter, so they were actually quite warm when they were doing all the running about. So yeah, challenging but manageable.
And what inspired you to make the film in the first place?
Well, I had just finished up my HND at New College, Lanarkshire, with my colleagues, and we did 2 years. We did a 2 year course where it was literally slap bang in the middle of the pandemic. So we never really had much of an opportunity to film much. If we did, it was always, go out and film something with you and your family. Like you couldn't get a crew together. So when I saw an opportunity that we could finally get a crew together, it was at the end of my actual diploma. So we weren't actually scheduled or meant to even produce anything. So this was a separate project that we had that I had literally just gone out and sought out to do myself. It had nothing to do with my course or anything like that. So it was me just basically taking the opportunity, like, look, I want to do this before I go out and actually, do other things. I want to go out and actually try and make a film with a proper crew, with a proper cast, and see what we can do. And I love those kind of movies where it tells this mysterious story that unravels as it goes on, and the post-apocalyptic setting holds itself well to the location that I had already been aware of many years ago, because I used to live near where we filmed it. So I was like, perfect setting. Need to go and do something there. So yes.
So were you making before you did your course? Were you making films then, or were you doing something completely different?
Years ago, I used to make little projects, but nothing ever kind of big. This is the first problem. This is my first project that I've done that's of this scale. So yeah, everything before that was just kind of little projects.
So would you do it again?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, so I'm in the middle of writing the next chapter, which picks up 6 months after this one finishes. So it was written very much in a way of this not being the end of the story. As I said in the beginning, it was a proof of concept for these characters and this world that we built. So the idea is to have it be a much larger arc, whether that's feature length or just continuing in short form. But yeah, definitely, it's hopefully filming later on this year.
And is this sort of you said already about the post-apocalyptic type films? Is this when you're watching films for yourself? Is that the sort of genre that you would tend to go for, or is there other types of films that you're interested in?
Yeah, I mean, they're the ones that I feel I'm kind of more drawn to in terms of trying to build interesting characters. I was very much influenced by the Viggo Mortensen movie The Road, where he's basically having to look after his daughter, and The Quiet Place as well. There's some influence there as well, and I love those kind of stories where they're kind of character pieces that have that are you put these characters in this very interesting world and you see what happens. So in terms of me personally as a filmmaker, they just I'm drawn to that. But I would love to do more kind of just like drama and science fiction in general. But yeah, these are the stories that I enjoy telling at the moment.
Oh, The Road was the first film I thought of when I started watching it,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
we ended up off camera just now. We've got someone doing the kind of editing as we go here, but Ian and I ended up having a big conversation about lenses and some of your shots. You've got the foreground, you've got something really in focus, and then everything else is fuzzed out, and then sometimes it is all flat and everything in focus.
Yeah.
So you had these kind of ways of building the atmosphere. So what sort of lenses did you use during making the film that helped you build that up?
So we used a the Black Magic, the latest Black Magic camera. I wasn't the cinematographer on this, so she was supposed to be joining me today, but unfortunately unable to. So she would have been the perfect person to answer that question. I will tell you that we used the latest Black Magic camera, and we kind of stayed at one focal length the whole time. To be honest, we kind of just we kind of just played about with the shots at that single focal length, and a lot of it was post production. To be honest, I changed a lot of the focus points in post production. So yeah, but in terms of actually on the day, we didn't really play about with too much. It was very much just a standard setup with the Blackmagic camera, and yeah, we didn't do too much on that. And we used a Sony Alpha as the second camera. So yeah, nothing too crazy.
Oh, well, I'm so looking forward to your film being part of this year's festival and getting our audience's feedback, and hopefully you'll be able to join us later on during the festival and talk about the other films that we've got showing. But for now, thank you so much for joining us, Simon.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing the other films. Thank you.
Fab. So that was Simon Bryant. You can see the Sen as part of this year's Deep Fried Film Festival. This has been Pulled Focus. My name's Ailey, and I will be back again soon with another filmmaker.